Okay, so let's talk about one of the most important, but honestly, one of the most ignored pieces of tech in our homes. You know the one I'm talking about. That little box with all the blinking lights. The thing that connects us to, well, everything. That's right. Today we're diving deep into the cable modem.
I mean, have you ever really stopped to think about it? You plug it in, maybe make a call to your cable company, and then poof, like magic, you've got internet. But what is actually happening inside that little box? How in the world does it take the same cable that pipes in TV shows and turn it into this super fast gateway for streaming, for gaming, for the entire internet?
So here's the simplest way to think about it. At its very core, a cable modem is a translator. See, your computer speaks one language, a digital language, and the internet signal coming through your wall on that TV cable, that's a completely different signal. The modem's whole job is just to translate between the two, back and forth, at lightning speed.
But the story of how this whole thing even became possible, well, that's the really fascinating part. It all comes down to one brilliant and, frankly, cost-saving idea that basically unlocked the entire industry.
So back in the 90s, a company called Hybrid Networks had this amazing aha moment. They looked at the existing TV cable networks, which were mostly one-way streets for sending signals to you, and realized something crucial about how we use the internet. Most of what we do is downloading. We pull information from the web. We're not sending huge files up to it all the time. This meant they didn't have to rebuild the entire network. They just needed a big pipe for stuff coming down, and a much smaller one for the little bits of data we send up. And this is the perfect way to picture it. Think of your download connection, your downstream, as this massive multi-lane superhighway. It's built to handle tons and tons of traffic coming your way. But your upload, the upstream connection, that's more like a little neighborhood side street. It's totally fine for sending out an email or a search query, but it's just not built for heavy traffic. And that is why your download speed is almost always way, way faster than your upload speed. It's by design.
Well, once this brilliant idea got out, it set off a total gold rush. But with no rules and no standards, this early era was a complete free-for-all, an era we can call the cable modem wars.
Just imagine buying a new phone that could only work with one specific carrier, and you could never, ever switch. That's exactly what it was like for early cable modems. Every single manufacturer built its own closed-off little world. It was a total nightmare, not just for us as consumers, but for the cable companies too, because they got locked in with just one supplier. Something had to give.
And you can see how this all played out. The core idea was actually floating around back in the 70s, but it was the early 90s when the market just exploded into that total mess of incompatible devices. A big official standards committee tried to sort it all out, but they were just moving way too slow. The industry needed a fix, and they needed it now. So the big cable operators decided to take matters into their own hands.
And here are just a few of the big names in that fight. You had companies like Land City, Zenith, Motorola, all pioneers, for sure. But their systems were like separate islands that couldn't talk to each other. If your cable provider used Motorola's system, your modem was totally useless on a network built by Land City. This whole situation was just holding the entire industry back. And out of all that chaos, a truce was finally called. It arrived in the form of a brand new, unified standard that was about to change absolutely everything. You know, the solution wasn't some brand new invention from scratch. A group of cable companies got together and created a new rulebook called DOCSIS. And what they did was really clever. They basically took the best pieces from the systems that were already out there. They grabbed the physical layer, which is basically the part that handles the raw radio signals, from Motorola's system. And then they took the MAC layer, which you can think of as the traffic cop that directs who gets to talk on the network and when, from Land City's system. It was really the best of both worlds. And the impact was huge right away. Before DOCSIS, you had zero compatibility. You were stuck with whatever clunky modem your provider decided to give you. But after DOCSIS, suddenly any certified modem worked on any network. This blew the doors open for consumer choice. You could finally go out and buy your own modem. And it kicked off this incredible race of innovation, leading to the super fast jumps from DOCSIS 1.0 to 2.0, 3.0, and on and on. So that brings us to today, and to that box that's probably sitting in your house right now. Because over the years, it's quietly evolved into something way more complex and powerful than just a simple translator. Yeah, that device is rarely just a modem anymore. Most of the time, it's a 4-in-1 device called a gateway. Of course, it's still a modem at its heart, but it also probably handles your phone service through something called an EMTA, which is just a fancy name for the part that makes internet phone calls work. And on top of that, it's a router that manages all the traffic inside your home network, and it's a wireless access point that creates your Wi-Fi signal. It's doing a lot of work. Now, with all that complexity packed into one box, sometimes things go a little weird. Have you ever been right in the middle of a movie or a video call, and for just a second, the internet blips out and then it comes right back? Well, there's actually an industry term for that. It's called modem flap. That's the insider term for when your modem loses its connection to the cable company's main hub for just a split second and then quickly reconnects. A little bit of this is totally normal. You probably won't even notice it. But if it starts happening a lot, it could be a sign that your modem's getting old or there's a problem on the network. That's what causes those super frustrating but very brief internet dropouts. So, from its Wild West beginnings in the modem wars to the sophisticated all-in-one gateway it is today, the cable modem really is the unsung hero of our digital lives. But here's the thing. Packing all of that intelligence into one single box creates a whole new challenge. Major vulnerabilities have shown that hundreds of millions of these devices could be at risk. And that leaves us with one last big question. As this little box becomes even more central to our lives, is our greatest gateway also becoming our greatest vulnerability?